Hey everybody, welcome back to the Ben and Noah Show. I'm Ben Soffer,
And I'm the Lian.
and today on our episode we are talking about something that's been relatively trendy lately. It's this new thing. It's actually not that new. It's called theater etiquette.
I mean, we say it's a new thing, but it seems like it's a new thing nowadays. Theater etiquette
Damn.
is just behaving in a theater. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I don't know if you've been to a recent like production or a play or anything, but have you ever sat in your seat and you're trying to pay attention to the show, and then there's just someone who is talking incessantly behind you, or someone who's on their phone, always like checking the time, or texting someone right next to you? I, in my opinion, I am very biased.
As
This
you
thing,
as
very
you
biased.
as you guys can tell, my counterpart came in locked and loaded for this particular segment. So Noah, please enlighten us. Tell us about this funny thing called theater etiquette. Why
Um,
why is it so important?
it's very important because people take their time out of the day and sometimes paying money, sometimes really a lot of money, to watch a production. These productions are live. They're not like movie theaters or something that you watch at home on the TV where, the production's already done, everything's already pre-scripted and given to you right away. These are live actors standing on a stage and telling you a story, okay? And for you to decide, you know what, I don't care what's going on the stage, or I want to talk to my friend, I want to be on my phone, it not only detracts from the people around you, you're distracting them and you're taking them out of the show. You are also there's an impact on the actors in the stage. They are not blind. They can see what goes on the stage. And it's just an outright disrespect to the actors, disrespect to the audience members who are sitting around you. Um, and ultimately, it's just like, why even be there if you're not going to pay attention to the show? Um, and this conversation between us was sparked because of a recent incident that happened on Broadway for Mamma Mia. And Ben, you want to talk a little bit about what?
Yeah, so this was a recent incident, if you will, at Mamma Mia at the Windsor Garden Theater in Broadway, where allegedly during intermission there were some loud people who were singing during the songs of the jukebox musical Mamma Mia. You all know the songs, but it's not appropriate. It's just not really because people, as Noah said, if you're performing on stage and if you're getting in the way of that, it's not really the venue. It's not Rocky Horror. There are some venues where that's okay, but it's in this particular setting when you have performers on, it's just not that way. Anyways, this was much to the chagrin of a person in front of them who was watching the show with their nieces, and it was getting really bad. And according to his side of the story, he tried to get ushers involved and all that, but all we saw was the explosion online, which was him yelling at them and berating them at intermission, and they all left. And to be honest, I mean, look, whatever side of the debate, everyone's going to have different perspectives on that, but I do think that it is worth bringing that up because in my own experience as a performer and also just as a consumer of theater and I mean film and honestly everything art related, it does kind of need to be readdressed because there is a bit of a problem in it right now. Like as you said, like performers do give their all in something, and I think like a good way to look at it is like even if you're not performing, like if you're doing a presentation in the corporate world, or you're doing like an interview or something and you're like put on the spot in a high pressure situation, ideally you want people to be paying attention to you. Like this is not exclusive to theater etiquette. I mean, I think it's just a general thing, and for whatever reason I it's unfortunate to see that it's lacking.
100%. I think that, yeah, when you are in a pressure situation, you are putting your all, you're giving it your all, you're trying to present yourself and communicate and tell a story for those performances, right? And people around you and the audience, for example, I'm bringing this back to theater again. They paid money to be here, okay? This is something that, well, if you're living in New York, maybe you can just walk down the street, pay cough up at like $90, $100, watch a show. Okay. Some people though have taken flights from outside the state into New York specifically booked an outing with their family or took a special like vacation or a time out of their day to watch this show. Okay, so you don't know the context of like where everyone else is coming from. So the fact that you feel like you feel like it's fine for you to just make it your own little karaoke bar or make it like your own little spot is just outright taking it away from others for your own sake. I think it's just really selfish. Um, Maybe the outburst was not justified. Okay, he did go pretty ham on those women. Okay.
Yeah, I think he could have, during intermission, could have just gone to one of the
Find one of the
ushers,
ushers. Yeah.
and then taken it from there. There is kind of a protocol for that.
There is a protocol, and it seems like the man during the Act One was trying to find an usher already during the performance. Not sure what happened with that, but there is also a case that I would like to put out for the man. Okay, and I would love if anyone wants to play devil's advocate in this episode to talk about.
Yeah, we love that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but for me personally, I've seen ushers not feel empowered to step in. Like I've seen ushers who are just much more passive. I mean, for example, hypothetically speaking, if they step in and they cause this big hubbub, the anger then gets directed to them. So I understand the hesitation, and maybe they'll get paid enough to do these things, but I've seen where people have been outright disrespectful during the performance. For example, yesterday I went to watch Heathers the musical, and there was
Good show. Yeah.
it was a wonderful performance, awesome cast. However, right behind me there was a couple who were talking basically throughout that musical, and it was really distracting. Really took me out of it, and many times I had to turn around and just like stare right at them. They didn't make a scene or anything, but I saw that we were on the last two rows, so they were sitting on the last row, and there was an usher right behind. Nothing from that usher, nothing at all, and I can see how it's like, they're not actually hitting anyone, or they're not actually like yelling or anything. They were just
That's a
talking,
low
You know
bar.
what I mean? But the thing is that like when do the ushers decide to step in, and maybe there needs to be a better like training, or there needs to be more of an protection for the ushers when they are coming in to step in to like shush people or to take phones away when they're recording shows and stuff like that. Like where I know I'm not really familiar with how the training is for the ushers, but I do think that they play a big role in helping to make sure that everyone in that audience is behaving themselves and is also and can they have a space to enjoy the show.
I don't know, man. I think it's an audience issue. I'm just gonna to be candid.
Yeah.
Like this has been a thing. Like I don't want to sound like I'm like pontificating about like the cultural integrity of Broadway, but like it is unfortunate that like I can attest to something similar that you've experienced in the last week without even having any like conversation about this beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
Like I went to see Moulin Rouge, is also a jukebox musical, with my girlfriend, and it was during the show there were two things that bothered me. There was this person who was clapping to the beat of the songs, like with the percussion, and the problem with that is that look, it's great that you're enjoying that. You are not the conductor. You're just not. You're just clapping, and it's great that you enjoy it, but it's not that kind of vibe. So like, but I mean, if he was out of town and like and he didn't understand the etiquette, like okay, I get it. Then the usher can go up to him and then say something or whatever. But there was another person who in like the very front. I'm not even talking about like the nosebleeds. I'm talking about someone who was like very close to the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Was they had like a timer that went off on their phone.
Same for me.
And
Yes.
and it was like it had like a softer tone to it, but it came off at around the second act, and there were a lot of somber moments in the second act, and they just never picked it up. It just kept on going throughout the rest of the act, and people in the vicinity could hear it, and like these are deep moments, like in the show when like they're trying to tell a story, like if that happens and like the actor like sees something or hears something that like catch them off guard, it's just naturally going to throw them off their rhythm. Like there's no way that you can just like, I mean, you hear it at first and then you adapt. I mean, these are Broadway. These are some of the best actors in the world. But like it's unfortunate, and I've been engaging with theater my whole life. I haven't seen it like this before.
Mm.
I mean, it's bad right now.
I think it's increasing. It's increasing in frequency of how the misbehaving has happened. And just to add on to that timer thing, I had a less intense. It was still like a in the middle of the song, and also during an important part of Heather's, which is when JD is singing about him being damaged, like I am damaged. There was a point in the play towards the end where he is damaged. Okay, now needs to be spoiled there, but um, during a very important scene, then that timer goes off. He turns it off really quickly, but like that is still you're focusing, and then you're thinking about the timer, and then you're looking back and you're still thinking about that timer, and it just takes you out of that scene. And this is not something that's difficult. To lay out what theater etiquette, like the usual theater etiquette is okay. Don't make a significant amount of noise that distracts people around you. That's it, right? Another thing, don't use your phone because the light is distracting to people around you. Turn your phone fully off. Like, don't okay, if you want to do airplane mode and all that kind of stuff, make sure that your alarms are not set to open. Fully off is the safest way.
Airplane mode.
Yeah,
Easy.
mode.
Imagine you're on a flight.
Yeah.
That's it.
The only thing the airplane the I think does Amber Alert still push through airplane mode?
I don't know, but ideally you're not getting an Amber Alert.
I mean, as long as you're sure, like that your phone alarms won't ring. I've always put my phone like fully off, like completely switched off. Yeah. But just to play it safe, bathrooms, you're not allowed to go to the bathroom in the middle of a show. But if you're not sitting right on the aisle, you're standing up, you're blocking people, and then you're like, oh, excuse me, to get all the way out. So just take your bathroom breaks right before the show and during intermission. Those are some of the etiquette things. Of course, don't take pictures. Like if you want to do your own thing, do your own thing. But it distracts people again when you're all moving around and everything. People around you are going to. Our eyes are naturally attracted to movement and sound and anything. So when you're singing, when you're doing anything that produces distraction, you're taking that away, and that is theater etiquette in general.
I think as a general rule, I mean, if you need to have your phone on for like an emergency or something, or you need to be alert in like one thing or another, like I think the general rule is don't do anything that's gonna potentially interrupt the show. Like it's weird because like there are some like art forms where it is like how do I put this? Like I saw an opera this one time, and that's not something that I do often. I just want to make that clear. But I was at the opera, and there were people like this was like a long opera's long. It's like 3.5 4 hours with an intermission. There were people sleeping, in the really close seats, and they're sleeping. And I'm not saying this is everybody, but like apparently that's like common in opera. But here's the thing. It's not frowned upon because it's not interrupting the performance. And so it's an interesting thing to kind of put into the context of this.
It's a bummer for the actors if you're performing and then you see someone sleeping right in front of you.
Right.
It's kind of a bummer, but
right. It's unfortunate, but like it's not like at that point like the actor's not like it's not like in the way. If anything, it's kind of making the.
If we're looking at because it's no longer blocking.
Right. Yeah. One less person to worry about.
Talk a little bit about like your own personal experience as a.
Oh, you want to go there, don't you? Okay.
I just want to say that the impact is not only primarily just the audience.
Okay.
But it spreads over to the cast and the creative team as well.
Yeah. So some of you guys who know me personally know that I do kind of have a story to tell with this. So I directed a theater production. It was based on Too Much Light Makes the Baby Go Blind. It's this neo-futuristic thing. We made a satire version of it called In Line for Food Trucks because we had a bunch of food trucks at Emory during this one year while the dining hall was being renovated. So it was like a satire thing. And the actors in the show, they worked really hard on it. And ultimately, and I will continue to say this, it was a very good show, and they did really well. I'm proud of all of them. Um, the
There's
last
a
show,
lot of improv in there as well.
there was a lot of there was a lot of improv. Um, the last show, without getting into too like big specifics or anything, we had organized a business school event where people from the Goizueta Business School in undergrad at Emory, they needed to get like a certain like boardroom requirement or something for their major or for their semester or whatever. And so we had an auditorium with like 250, 300 seating capacity. Um, we were like before we were getting maybe like 50 or like I mean 75 people, but like this was like an opportunity to like maximize the space. And so the place is jam packed. We were set to start at like 2 p.m. I think. We didn't start until 2:30 because it took them a bunch of time to get into their seats. Um, as the director, I did like a keynote thing before that, I had to specifically instruct them not to take their computers out, which I don't think you should have to do for really any like event. Like it's not a class or anything like that. It was a performance. Um, and
Wait, did you feel like you had to say that because of you saw people taking their computers out, or do you
I was asked to. Yeah, I was asked to.
But
And I didn't mind. I figured it was just an extra thing to just like
Yeah.
emphasize
Yeah,
because I had done that on the previous nights before, and so that anyways this happens and we're going through the show, and the thing that did not get communicated to the actors was that, or to me for that matter, was that um, a boardroom event, technically speaking, only needed to be like 60 minutes. So after 60 minutes, they could just leave and take their credit, which is what they came for. And unfortunately, that was the case with the vast majority of them, and a lot of them left halfway through the show.
in the middle
And
of the
so,
performance or during
in
intermission?
no, there was no intermission. It was like a 90-minute show, and they a lot of them left halfway through. And now, looking back at that, like as the director, I just felt so bad for my actors that I just at the end of the show I wanted to just give them all a hug. My As the show ended, my stage manager, who's great, shout out Melissa Lev, Marissa Lev, excuse me. She comes up to me and goes, "You need to fucking talk to them." And and completely winging it, I say to them like,
The actors.
to the actors, whatever you do not let this dictate how good of a job that you guys did. Like this was you guys all became more talented today than you were before, which is hard to do because you were all really good. And I had never been in that situation before. It was really difficult, but it was a hard note to end on. And thankfully, a lot of them came up to me afterwards and said like, I really appreciated that. And honestly, like now I don't see the show like that at all in the way that it was. And so I'm glad that even with that, I was able to sort of like land it on a high note. But like, it was still hard, and it is something that you shouldn't really have to deal with in any setting. Forget about theater for a minute. Any time that like you put work into something and it all culminates, and then people just like leave for whatever reason, like or whatever the venue is, like it's just not appropriate at all. So that's like the long and short of it. The people that know me well know what really happened in that experience. But like the good thing is that like I after that day, like I could sleep at night knowing that my actors felt proud of their work and that it wasn't on them. It wasn't on me. It was on the audience. But that's a conversation that shouldn't need to happen. And it's a shame that it did. And as we're seeing this stuff with theater etiquette just becoming more and more prevalent, it's just unfortunate that we have to revisit it. But clearly we do.
I think the deep root of etiquette is, having empathy for the people around you, for the people who are performing, for the people who are doing anything, for the people who are also attending any event. Etiquette is something that you are considering the experiences of other people and taking that into consideration, and you're respecting the space. This shouldn't be something that's taught. However, it is something that needs to be talked about more. It looks like, because it seems like it's gone out the window. People have only paying attention to themselves. They think that, I don't know, if you're watching a show, you think that that's your phone. Like, I can do whatever I want while I'm looking at my scrolling my reels or whatever. Like, I think that that's people need to take a step back. We as a whole community need to take a step back and start realizing, hey, we're not the only person living in this world right now. There are people who are experiencing the things that we're experiencing right now, and we need to make sure that we are not imposing on their experiences as well.
And that's that. So stay tuned for next week, and have more etiquette next time.
Yeah.
Until then, I'm Ben Soffer.
And I'm Lian.
Goodbye.